and gals, here we are. Today's project. We're back on the 1971 Chevelle, the Crown Jewel. Last time you seen, we got the floor pans done. Got everything for the front end straightened out. Got all that in epoxy primer. Now we have it in high build primers. Got some exciting stuff coming up with that here in the next couple days. What we're going to do today, we're going to come in here where we did our body work, put our quarter panels on. We're going to come in here and do some mud work. We're going to get this thing ready to be putting high build primer. You can see we started here a little bit. Come around the car. We got a little bit to do here. We're going to put some in there. And what we're going to concentrate on right now is the seam where we put the quarter to the roof. Lead seam is what would have been there from the factory. Now we're going to do something a little different. So we'll get you to turn back on when we're ready and show you what we're working with. All right, guys and gals, here we are. This is what we got. Door glass. This is what we're going to use there where we put our quarter panel on the car where the lead seam used to be. This is some pretty nasty stuff. This stuff is pretty much nothing but fiberglass. A lot of guys will call this kitty hair. You've been around a while, you know what kitty hair is. So we're going to get this mixed up, get it over to the car there. We're going to get her spread on and start getting this process going. All right, guys and gals, here we go. We got our kitty hair all mixed up, door glass, whatever you refer to it as. And we're going to lay that in this seam here. Now you need to pay attention when you're doing body work and stuff. There's certain fillers for certain thicknesses, okay? You really don't want to put just regular old body filler in this. It's going to be too thick. This kitty hair has fiberglass reinforcement strands in it that makes it designed to be a little thicker application. Now all I'm trying to do is fill that impression, okay? We're not trying to finish our panel with this stuff. All right, we'll come back over it with a different kind of filler to smooth it out. So we're just trying to get the thickest part of this filled in. Clean that up. Let that get hard. And we're all to the next step. Get rid of that excess, because like I said, this is just the first fill. We're not trying to finish fill this right now. All right, we'll get the rest of this spread and we'll cut you back on when we're ready. All right, guys and gals, we're back. We got our wood rasp. I'm going to show you a neat little trick here. You body shop guys know this trick if you've been around a while. You just take this rasp and you can use that to start to form your filler before it's completely dry, okay? Like I said, this is just our first step. We don't want this to be the last thing you're trying to finish. You get the paint on here. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is just get this shaped up here. Get a little contours in here. It's going to save me a lot of sanding as I go along. Okay? It's just one of them little tricks that might save you a lot of work ahead. Now you don't want to wait until this gets too hard to where you can't get this to fall off for you. Okay? So just keep that in mind with your timing. Because this does have hardener in it and it's going to set up. There you go. You can kind of see. Just stays with a lot of sanding. Panel cures. Cut the excess off. Start to get your shape. Also give you an idea of your highs and your lows. And that's what you're after. Now we'll go around here and get the rest of this done. We'll cut you back on. All right, guys and gals, here we are. We got our 40 grit. We got our door block. Now you'll notice, look. This one's got a bunch of slices in it. That allows it to flex a little bit. So we're going to go ahead here. This is almost dry, not quite. And we're going to use this to start getting a shape for a roof panel. You're going to go on the next pattern here so you get it as flat as possible. Like I said, you're going to have to go through here and add filler a couple times so you get the desired shape and effect you want. Better to have to add it than to try to sand it all out at one time. Trust me, I've done that. That's not fun. Another thing, guys and gals, you want to keep in mind, this is a chemical reaction that's taking place here as this cures. So you're putting basically a liquid substance on there that you're turning into a solid, and it creates heat while it does that. So you want to keep that in mind as you're doing these panels. You don't want super thick. You want this stuff to dry without producing a whole lot of heat to it. It starts out pretty easy with the 40 grit. I'll come in here and I'll get these shapes in there the way I want. We'll do another add. We'll get that shape down. We'll show you what it looks like when we get her all done. Alright guys and gals, we're back! Here we got a flexi block here, switched up a little. We're going to use this to match our contour of our roof. At first I wanted to use that other stiffer contoured block just to get me flat as I possibly could between this transition point from the new quarter to the original roof. So we got our 40 grit. And guys and gals, I like this stuff here. I know there's pre-cut stuff, but I tend to waste a lot of that. You know, you'll cut them down in shorter pieces, and you know, that stuff's not cheap. So I like to buy the roll stock, because then I can make it to whatever size I want and use it how I please. So we're just going to go in here and lock this down, just so we can see our highs and low points here. Your objective is you want to blend these two so they're nice and even. Okay? You want to make this look seamless. You don't want to be able to see that there's any kind of repair or any kind of seam or anything going here. This is where you want to take your time. And you can start to see your highs and lows show up here. Get this brushed off. Okay, and don't be afraid to use your guide code here as well. That's going to make it magnify your low spots so you know where your next ad's going to have to go. You might have to do this 2 or 3 times till you get it perfect. But don't shortcut this point, because this is the base of all your body work, all your paint work goes on this. You want this to be right. So take your time here, smooth all this transition out, make sure it's right, and then you'll be able to move on to your next step without having to come back and revisit any of this body work. So we're going to get this done on the rest of the car, and we'll click it back on. Alright guys and gals, we're back on the 71 Chevelle. So now we got everything pretty much filled in with our kitty hair. Now we're switching over to our Evercoat Everglass. Short strand fiberglass reinforced pipe. You can read. It's right there. So what this is going to be the next stage in our fiberglass after our kitty hair. We're putting this over top. Now I've already done one coat here. This is just to fill it in. I saved you guys the boring stuff. So we went around the car here, touched up any little areas we needed to, filled in any seams that we needed to, got all this laid in here, so this will be the first coat of that short hair, alright? Then we'll get this sanded down, we'll get our glaze on top of that, get that all sanded down, and we're going to put this thing in primer today. Today. I hope so, fingers crossed, alright. Alright guys and gals, as you can see, we got our preliminary body work all done. Our edges all filled. Our gaps done. A little bit more to add right here. And then we're going to skim this with some glaze, just to smooth the transition out even further. So we're going to get that mixed up and spread on here, do our last batch of sanding, and we're going to get this gal in primer. Oh man, so excited. Big step coming up. Can't wait. This thing's going to look sharp. Click you back on when we're ready. Alright guys and gals, as you can see, we spread that on there over our initial body work just to blend the two back to the sheet metal. Give it a smooth transition. And I'm going to show you this. This is where I first added it, so you'll see how much of this we actually sand off. I'm going to make my gap over here. Alright. We'll get that sanded down and click you back on. We're getting ready to prime. Alright guys and gals, before I forget, icing. That was our last stage of filler we used there to get our body transition smoothed out. Alright, let's take a walk around and look at this guy. You can see how thin that is. This is where I split the entire quarter panel to get my gap for my trunk air. Get that all laid in there nice. Oh yeah. Same thing with the door here. Did the same thing. Because I put the whole quarter on into the door. Alright. So in order for me to get my gaps exactly the way I wanted them, we split the gap, re-welded the whole seam. There you can kind of see it. Then feathered that in. Okay, we're going to get this gal taped off. We're going to get this thing in etching primer and then high build. We'll cut you back on when we get that done. Alright guys and gals, taped all our shiny stuff off. Above, underneath, protect all our finished product. With the windshield taped off. Let's get this guy going. We'll click it back on when we get her mixed up. Alright guys and gals, here we go. My camera died. I had it set up to show you this, but here we are in our final stage of high build primer. 2 good coats. Got our etching primer on, got our high build on. Let's get a good look at this gal. As you can see, we got our body work all done. Got our gaps done. And this is high build primer, so it has a heavy texture to it. It's like a sprayable filler. There we go, guys and gals, our 1971 Chevelle, the crown jewel, and high build primer. Making progress, getting places, having fun while we're doing it. Boom, chicken. Alright guys and gals, you know why we do it. For the love of hot rods and horsepower. Go and get you a project. Start enjoying it. We'll catch you on the next one. Let's get this gal running.